welcome to the Download Youth Ministry web show / podcast. This is episode number 280. My name is Douglas Montgomery Fields. To my left is the Queen, Katrina Katie Edwards, junior high pastor extraordinaire. To my right, Jason, senior pastor Carson, Supertone guru, and as always,
over there,
who's been with me for 280 episodes, is
Old Faithful
Josh Griffin, high school pastor, co-founder of Download Youth Ministry, CrossFit buddy, free
these
t-shirt,
things don't happen.
free t-shirt guy, the whole bit.
I went through my closet trying to clean out free t-shirts. My wife is like, you got to get rid of some of these shirts, and so
you actually hang those shirts?
Every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. This is if you're new with us, this is a podcast where we talk over each other and we answer your youth ministry questions at webshow@downloadyouthministry.com. We have sponsors, and Orange is our primary sponsor. They're the best. They're the greatest. I was just with them last week in Charlotte, and I'm leaving next week to join them in Nashville. And by the time this airs, the Orange tour will be done. Yay. But it is time to sign up for Orange Conference. Katie's been.
Yeah, we were.
You went last year.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
loved it.
Yeah, we're going this year.
Josh is using the XP3 high school curriculum.
We're 4 weeks in. Love it. It's crushing.
Katie went on tour, or not on tour, to the conference.
Yeah.
Your church is using the children's.
Love it. It's been great.
Paint us orange right here. We are oranged out.
Yeah, we're grateful, Orange.
Very thankful. Yep.
For being our sponsors, and sign up, join us at the end of April. At in Atlanta at the Orange Conference.
What's so funny?
I'm just laughing at him going, "We're joining us," in a way like you're giving him, some mental cues here. I just like it.
You know what?
Your relationship is cute.
Our relationship is cute.
Yeah.
We have a cute relationship.
So cute.
Well, and we're also, we'll talk more in the show of Leader Treks and Azusa Pacific University, and of course our friends at Youth Ministry 360.
Yes.
Who you and I are meeting tonight. We need to talk to them about summer camp next year.
We should.
Because
they're doing some cool stuff.
Great summer camp.
You see they're looking for a summer staff. I just saw on Twitter. They're like counselors to be a part of their camp. Like, it's cool. They're blowing up, man.
Their summer camps are crushing.
Yeah.
Crushing.
It's awesome.
And I feel like we can say that easily because Orange has one high school camp sold out.
Yeah,
already sold it.
Sorry.
So they're not going to be mad that we would promote
Youth Ministry 360. Where do their camps happen?
Everywhere.
All over. Yeah, honestly,
everywhere.
they have like a dozen locations. First year out of the gate, they brought in like killer staff. The program's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Josh and I are talking about doing something on the West Coast.
Yeah.
West Coast.
I'm thinking about leading worship at their West Coast. Just me and my harmonica.
This is from Tyra Ray.
Hi, Tyra.
And what I just
I'm the co-host.
Okay, cool.
What I just thought about is we should
I'm Doug's hype man. Tyra, what's up?
That's so funny.
Tyra! Tyrini!
We haven't been together in a while.
It's been a while.
Let me get our rhythm back a little bit here. Okay, here we go.
Somebody was late today.
280. I was.
We don't really point fingers.
No, I was late, and you've heard me get on him about being late.
I've never
and
been
him
late.
about being late.
Katie legitimately
and here's what leaders don't do, Katie. They don't blame the calendar that the calendar said one time.
Calendar did say a different time than the text said.
Yeah, but a good, strong leader.
I'm not going to blame that. That's just, it's my fault.
I need to spell blame, Doug.
I apologized. I came in. I groveled.
We started right away.
And it's so funny for me to apologize to either of these guys.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Amazing.
To you.
And what's so great is you were so late that us being a little late doesn't even matter because you were later than us.
Here's the deal. I'm having lunch with Jim Burns. And he says, how much time do we have? I said, it starts at 1:45, but I said, they're always late. I said, I don't like to be late, but if I walked in at 1:46, 1:48, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And
1:32.
I was here 10 minutes early.
I
was sitting there catching up with emails. I'm just saying.
He was just doing a prayer walk around the studio.
Yeah,
I just want to cover this studio. Do we also need to talk about the fact that we've now We've never invested in equipment.
Yes.
We invested in equipment.
We have microphones, cranes, boom camera.
We've promised.
They're
We've
so
promised.
excited. They're in Josh's office.
I have a
just
whole
waiting
stack
to
of
use.
audio gear doing nothing.
Okay, here's the story. DYM podcast insiders. We have a guy. His name is Chris. He's fabulous.
He is great.
He does all the editing for our monthly
training video for
training
members.
video. Yeah. He's great. He's fun to be with. He used to be on Josh's staff. He was in
so
my
funny.
youth group.
Yeah.
He's a crack
He
up.
is
He's
funny.
great.
So
the whole
funny.
bit. But he got a job.
The downside to that is
And he used to not have a job, and when he didn't have a job, we could shoot a podcast at any time, and he was there.
He was in.
So we order the equipment. He's gonna set it up, the whole bit.
Yeah, and now it's done. It's over.
Yeah, now he's being
A
responsible.
job has really messed up this not job thing.
Back
Anyway,
to
Tyra
Tyra,
says,
hey, Tyra.
I first heard of you and saw you at Orange Tour, whatever, 2013. Really liked you. Thank you. Fast forward 2 years where I see you again in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Orange Tour.
Oh, just now.
And I never used Orange curriculum for my youth ministry, but our children's ministry has used it and is having good results. Is that what you guys are
Oh
having?
yeah. Are you encountering that same thing?
Encounters
the name of
Oh,
the
yes.
church. Thank you.
Come on.
Yeah. You know what you ought to do?
Oh,
What's that?
Because you're only getting that free for a year.
Yeah.
Because you're the host of the show.
Yeah.
You better start saving.
Get
Yeah.
some
I'm aware.
tithers. Teach them tithers what you
Yeah.
need. Church planners.
Maybe I can
So-
encounter some donors.
Some Tyra says, you know what? Maybe we should give to your church.
Who are you pointing at?
The three of us.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally.
How much
Okay.
would you like?
Well,
We're gonna
that'd be a
split
good
it
thing.
95-5.
Amazing.
95-5.
5.
Okay.
5. We're splitting 5.
Yeah. 95-5. I like that.
They just signed.
Thank-
So now
All right,
they each
what's
have to
your
get
budget?
5 of what I'm
Thank you for
getting.
being so generous.
All right.
Dad.
Oh, we
No.
could get broken right here.
No, you can't. Not at 5%. It's just nice to see you have a little skin in the game with your friend
You know
who
what?
starts a church.
Yeah. Who was there for your launch meeting? That's what I,
I think
want
we
to know.
should get into
Josh
bartering.
Griffin was.
I was busy that night, but still.
I have recently become a DYM member because it's cool, has relevant stuff, is easy to access, the cost won't break our budget. My question to you
There you
is,
go.
why should one use DYM versus Orange?
Oh, interesting.
Did I just hear that Josh says he uses Orange XP3 in a
Sure.
podcast, web show, pod show, webcast, episode 278?
She's a total insider. I love it.
Tyra.
I love it.
We have not said. Here's what we've said.
Yeah.
We need to like archive answers so that people could come here. It's
Oh,
not
go to the show.
DYM or Orange.
Yeah.
We're saying is if DYM does
They're
not
complimentary.
DYM does
They
not
are.
provide a weekly. We have all kinds of stuff that you could use weekly, but we don't have a weekly curriculum like Orange has.
Yeah.
And
Comprehensive scope and sequence, detailed planning.
scope and cycles,
Whatever it is. Powerful delivery tools. We don't have that. We have a simple fill in the cracks of your programs, of your games, of your curriculum, devotions, tools. We have everything else. Yeah, I would say honestly, Orange is the core.
I would
And
say
we're
it's
the everything
the,
else.
it's the cake. DYM makes the cake look good, taste good,
We're
and smell good.
that we're the frosting.
Yeah. How you doing with that?
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
I can barely
Maybe a
see
little
you
confused.
camouflaged.
There's a lot of metaphors going on.
Yeah.
I
Orange.
totally know what you are.
Yeah, where did Katie go with that camouflage?
I know. Will people
wonder
watching
Ira has
will
no
people
idea.
watching the podcast be able to see Katie in her
They'll
camouflage?
just see a gold chain, blonde hair.
That's all you need, right?
That's all you need.
All right, so Tyra, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a either or.
So we would suggest buying the cake.
It's a both and.
Let them eat cake, and
Oh my gosh.
just be a member.
Be a member to make it look good. Josh, Danny Peck, who's the youth director at First United Methodist Church in Elizabethtown City, North Carolina,
What's up, Danny?
may have just saved our friends a lot of time.
Okay.
He says, Jason, Doug, Katie, and Josh, I'm a DYM member and a rewinder. You've all been helping me out and saving me work for years, and I'm hoping I can do the same for you guys and for future rewinders. A few weeks ago on episode 273, Jeremy Cole wrote in and asked where he could find old episodes of the show. Josh pointed him to YouTube, saying every episode from 00 to present was online, but that some videos were missing titles. That statement was almost true. Danny, you've just described Josh's total vernacular. There it is.
What's wrong with 95% of the truth?
If anybody should have been a senior pastor, it is.
Let me just do a quick count.
There's still
1,
time.
2, 3,
There's still time.
74. I'm qualified.
There's still time.
As of today, there are 243 web show episodes on your YouTube channel. 148 of them have titles. 95 of them do not have titles. That leaves 34 episodes of the show that are totally missing from YouTube or anywhere I can find them on the internet. Wow. How do I know all this? Because I already went through and matched up YouTube addresses with their episode numbers.
What?
Can you believe that? Below is a link to a Google spreadsheet for you. It took me a lot of time to figure this all out.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't want something else to have to. I don't want someone else to have to replicate all the work that's already been done. Hopefully, this will allow you to quickly add titles to those videos without having to figure out which one is which. And now maybe the 34 lost episodes can be found and uploaded.
Lost episodes. That's so fun.
It is.
Danny,
Josh, you gonna get right on that?
if I could jump through the camera or the sound waves and kiss anybody on the lips,
What would you do? Would it be him?
It'd be Danny.
Does he have a job right now?
I don't know.
He could be our new Chris.
No, that's. I mean, come on, talk about.
Okay.
Getting someone with
I will
that
say
attention
this.
to detail, though, like to
Not only
help
that
us
attention
out.
to detail, there's somebody that cares like
I agree.
us, and so
Here's
and
the full
because we've been doing
backstory.
this a
Either
long
John-
time, and people say, like I was in Pittsburgh last week speaking to youth workers. People came up. I'm a podcast listener.
Oh,
like
that's
they
so
now
fun.
got it. I don't care about anything. Tell me that, and then I'm like, okay,
We're best
now I'm
friends,
in.
yeah.
Because everybody tells me, oh, I'm a then they get to the.
I was your hair surgeon. Get this in your eyes. It's in your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
start-
Let me
start
just
it.
make
Okay.
two things. One, Matt McGill used to be on the show.
Throwing him under the bus.
He uploaded 200
Unbelievable.
shows.
Don't even
at
remember
once.
him.
Yeah, he was a good. I think he was a good guy. He uploaded 200 shows at once and just hit save, and that's how they're all up there on the site. And two, I'll make a statement based on that, the quality of that spreadsheet, which I've not seen. It will be done by the time this show airs. Every episode will be labeled correctly with the number. I'll just
What
say.
about the 34 lost episodes?
I will begin the search. This is a lot of work. Thank you.
I feel like you should label them lost episodes because
Oh, I
they
kinda
feel that's like
yeah.
a something in the entertainment
Yeah.
world. You know?
You're right.
I feel
Yeah.
like we ought to have an episode just for Danny.
A Danny honoring Danny episode.
Can this
Yeah.
be it, or is it a
Well,
different one?
you know one of the things we've talked about.
Maybe send in. Yeah, I don't know.
What-
Send in questions for
Send in.
Danny.
Okay, let's do this. Josh and I have been talking about a gathering.
Oh.
Like in the old days when we do a
That's
PDYM
cool.
gathering, we'd hang out at my house, we'd do
Fun.
dessert.
Invitation only. We point at people and say you're
Danny's
coming
the
to the
first
gathering.
invitation.
Oh, wow.
Obviously.
Well,
Danny, this is your invite.
did Danny say he's a DYM member?
I
Because
don't
it can just be a
know.
reminder.
He
That's
said
a whole nother
something
level.
about cake.
Yes, I'm a DM.
yeah.
DYM member.
Done.
First thing he says.
He's the first one to be invited.
Okay,
We're
Danny,
gonna do
welcome.
it.
Basically, we're throwing you a party and we're gonna invite.
What do you think
everybody
about
to-
September?
And we'll have
Somewhere-
cake.
Somewhere around your birthday, but not on your birthday.
Basically.
Yeah, I hate my birthday. It's the worst time.
Are you
so
gonna
maybe
be-
like a little later.
Later.
Like the 20th of
Like
September.
the later September.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna do something.
Well, your wife and I share a birthday, so you wouldn't even want it to be around.
Oh, well
Yeah.
played. Well said.
Yeah.
That's a good.
I thought you and Cody shared a birthday.
No, me and Kath.
Oh, you're the 2012?
We're 10 years
You're
apart
the 12th?
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
10 years apart.
Doug and I are almost the same birthday too. We're a couple days off.
Uh-huh.
When's your birthday?
July 16th.
Oh
Oh,
nobody.
it's too bad. Nobody has
You're
that.
kind of
I didn't
late.
get it.
You're senior pastor.
It's too bad. Okay, cool. Moving
Yeah.
on.
All right. This
All
is
right,
from
you're in.
Megan.
Mm.
Megan?
Are we gonna have dinner or dessert? Sorry. Is
Oh,
it
let's
gonna
do
be a
both.
party?
It's
Okay,
going to be
cool.
a gathering.
Like an
Yeah,
overnight.
fun.
That'd be several days. Then.
Everyone's
Well,
sleeping
maybe
over at his
2
house.
days.
2 days.
2 days.
Fields' house.
Sleep over.
Yeah.
Sleepover.
Lock in.
Yeah, I would say Megan. I don't know if I'd say Megan.
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 Okay.
She's from Ontario. That's why. Should have read that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just throw extra stuff in there.
Yeah. Hey. I'm a recent member of DYM and I really love the resources and of course the web show. I'm a third-year youth pastor of students grades 6 through 12.
Cool.
More and more I've been thinking about developing student leaders within the ministry. The big question I have is how? How do you select which students to develop as a leader? How do you invest in them? And what do you do to give them leadership over? I definitely see the value of developing student leaders, but I'm stuck on how to start it off.
It's great.
Great.
There's only a resource for that by our friends.
Student leaders start here.
If there was, boom.
Our sponsors.
Leader
which
tracks.
when we
Hello.
hold up books, it makes Angie Franklin
Angie,
very.
we're holding up a book
Angie,
right
this
now.
is for you. This is like a barn building.
Barn raising?
Barn raising.
There it is. I got you.
Yeah, they built a barn. The Franklins did.
They did?
They built a
Oh.
barn. Yeah, I follow them on Instagram, and I pay attention when she talks about significant things in her life, like building a barn in her backyard. They're one of our sponsors, Josh, and they provide a resource for us every month.
They're
And-
wonderful. I love Leader Trek stuff.
Student Leaders Start Here is a book, leadertreks.org. Check it out. And we're holding it up right now. If you're on the audio show, you're missing out on this moment where you're
Yeah.
holding the book up.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to Doug Franklin about the mission trips that they do, and I'm thinking I want to go on one of their mission trips. They
That
sound
would be cool.
they sound cooler than any mission trip I've ever been on. So,
Well, Fields, for a long time you said most student leadership groups are the cute, fun, and popular crowd, right? And that's how we select students, and there's got to be a better way than that. For me, it was always the loud students. To get them to shut up, I would say, well, be a part of my student leadership and say those things and be expressive, and even sometimes negative students I would welcome into student leadership, because if you're critical, great, come be a part of the solution. And several students over the course of the years of doing student leadership, several students that were really negative turned into really powerful advocates for our ministry because they had buy-in that they didn't have before.
so you rewarded inappropriate
Exactly.
behavior.
So complain and you're in.
We use a couple of Leader Trek resources for us. I think not thinking of it as we have to have a student leadership program, and thinking more of how do we create a culture of kids stepping up to lead and serve. And so maybe start with a few, identify a few kids that you want to work with, maybe one or two or three students in your youth group. And Leader Treks has had an idea that I have totally fallen in love with in junior high, which is kind of project based, a little bit more things with like start points and end points to them. So it's not necessarily a year-long thing or a 4-year thing that you're asking them to commit to, but kind of developing them in more intensive, shorter kind of time frames. So we just started this a year and a half ago in junior high, where we picked, we had 8 junior hires for one of our big kind of outreach things called School Wars, which is on the weekend. And we did kind of, with Leader Treks, some of their suggestions, 4 weeks leading up to that. There was some evangelism training, leadership training, serve training, and we asked them to commit to 6 weeks, and then they did both weekends with us. And they invited tons of friends, and it was just really like, gave them kind of this cool opportunity.
Awesome.
But then they've just kind of maintained this culture of lead and serve in our ministry without being attached to a program. So they're stepping up every week now, which is kind of a cool thing.
I love it.
We're doing like 3 or 4 of those projects a year. We're just kind of identifying and inviting kids into that process, doing some things, but then it just seems like it's sticking. So, and that was one of the Leader Treks resources that helped us get there. So
That's great.
it's really
That's
cool.
great.
I love it.
I do
Well,
too.
speaking of Leader Treks resources, every month, Megan is a new DYM member. Every month, one of the 8 items you get every month is a student leadership guide that's new.
Yeah.
New theme. That what we've said is that if you have a student leadership group, your curriculum is written for you. If you don't have a student leadership group, still print that out and hand it to a kid and
Right.
say, hey, I'd love for you to read this week, think about it, let's get together and talk about it.
Yeah.
And begin to develop leaders one at a time. I don't, in the old days, I used to make announcements about student leadership, and then I'd get kids that really weren't leaders, because, when Jesus said, if you want to be first, you must be last. I got kids that were good attenders, but, leadership has, when you said lead and serve, that's a synonymous term with leadership. So, I look for the kids that are already serving within your ministry, and then give them, identify that as a leader role. This is what leaders do. Leaders serve here. And love all of you. Love the fact that you're here. Thrilled that you're here. But if you want to be a part of this, take on more leadership. And I think kids are willing to take on leadership. I mean, I was just talking to a teenage girl last weekend who is the excuse me, is the captain of her swim squad or whatever they call it. They have to swim at 4:45 in the morning.
Oh my.
Yeah, they at 4:45,
Yeah.
and they do that 3 times a week. And her job is to get everybody up on the team. She texts everybody in the morning and does something, And I thought, isn't it interesting, that you want to swim, you want to wear a Speedo, Jason. You
Get the shoe fits.
you got to get up early and do that several times a week. And we give the world sports school gives kids all kinds of leadership opportunities and responsibilities, but in the church we're scared to ask kids to step up.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my whole testimony of my pastor believing in me and asking me to be a leader. When I had youth ministry, like that was huge for me, like just speaking into a kid's life and calling them out and saying, hey, I really see this for you in a year or two. Even as a junior higher, as a freshman, coming into that place where you say, hey, I'd really love for you to work towards this. It's a chance for you to for all God has done and shown you in your life, for you to give back and turn to them and to take on the role of kind of a big brother, big sister to people. So even depending on people's leadership levels and structures, right? Of course, we're not asking someone to go into a teaching role for everybody, but for somebody to be there as a big spiritual brother or sister, to just listen to a kid and show up every week and, hey, I'm glad you're here and know your name and all that stuff. I think anyone can do that.
Yeah.
I always got kind of bummed when sometimes in the youth ministry world people would always just cling so tightly to that. Not everyone's a leader. They all shouldn't be there. And I know what they're kind of saying, but I really do believe every kid has a chance to serve people in some way or to pour their life into someone else. And so some of the best leaders I ever had at our youth group were people that were one-on-one people. They weren't like the big, I'll take 30 kids and change the world with them. Like some of those one-on-one people, they just, are amazing. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, this question brought to you by one of our sponsors,
Yeah.
LeaderTrex.
LeaderTrex.
LeaderTrex.com, LeaderTrex.org.
Either one, they go to the same place.
Yeah.
student leaders start here.
That's right.
Will we send anything?
And
to
they've
her,
got a
or
barn.
just-
They've got a
They do.
barn. The Franklins have a barn.
Lovely barn.
Yeah. Hey, we also have a student leadership conference
Yeah.
that the Skit guys are going to. Did you know this?
That's exciting.
Hey,
Skip
should we
guys.
ask Katie to
I
teach
love
at it
that.
right
Katie's
here live
going
on the
to.
show? Oh,
She's going to.
All right, great.
So I'm so excited.
We're
Yeah.
happy to announce that Katie Edwards is going to be teaching at the Southern
All right,
California
Katie.
location.
I think
Katie!
everybody is so excited to know what the dates are of the conference.
So are we. We're really
So
excited.
we have the dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Off the top of your
They're
head.
June and
we're
July.
So excited.
Yeah, the end of
This is
June.
Southern
and-
California, Atlanta, and
Indiana.
Granger, Indiana.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great time. Make
Yeah.
sure you join us.
And
And the Skit
bring-
guys, what we're excited about, Skit guys are not just coming to do one session and perform. They're going to do the whole conference with us.
That's
That is gonna be
amazing.
Yeah.
so
That's great.
fun.
They're going to think, we're going to all think together, what do we want the sessions to be? What are we going to say? Eddie's always been about, Eddie's one of the 2 Skit guys, if you don't know that. He's always been about developing leaders.
Yeah.
And
Love him.
Well,
Yeah.
LeaderTrex has been there the last few years.
Yep.
They'll be there and
Yep.
providing great resources. And Doug does a cool interactive session every year that's always a blast. Katie is teaching a workshop or a general session. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
last year was a general
I'm so
session.
excited.
I got an email yesterday,
Let's see.
or a text yesterday from Reggie Joyner, who is the head of Orange, and he said, I have a question. I woke up this morning and I'm thinking about,
Oh.
I woke up
Thank
thinking
you.
Of Doug
about
Fields.
how big do you want student leadership to get?
Wow.
Well, one part of their strategy, when you really dig into the Orange strategy, the last piece of their
I care
strategy
deeply about students.
is getting kids to engage in ministry. And so, it's one of the areas that they have resources for all the, 4 out of the 5. They've got all kinds of incredible stuff for each. They've got 5 parts to their strategy, and their 5th part is empowering kids, and they don't really have something that they direct kids to.
Send them to SLC.
And so that was fun. That was yesterday. So
That's awesome.
this
You're
summer's gonna
telling
be
1 billion students. Is that-
global domination in the
Yeah.
student leadership space. So
Obviously.
Well, there's something magical about the size. It would be fun to add more locations without growing it too big because it is such a great
it's
group
such
of
an
students.
intimate setting too.
So cool.
It is.
And you get access to legit influencers and speakers. Skit guys, that'd be rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie Edwards will be there.
Yeah.
and this, I just reached in for another student leadership question. This is from Mark Eads. Mark, it says, he's so gracious to always say who he is, although I know who he is. Mark Eads, the guy who's brought middle school students to Granger Student Leadership Conference the last 2 years.
He's a good youth.
I have a simple question. By bringing middle school youth to the conference, am I hurting the conference? I know the target audience is student leaders that are high school. I know that the material that is covered can and is over the heads of a lot of our middle school youth. I've been very picky about who I bring, and yet I wonder, by introducing my middle school youth to the conference, am I actually hurting the conference? I have no expectations that you'll respond to this email, which I appreciate.
He does know you as you know him, so that's great.
He's always someone who gives you grace, though, as a fellow youth worker.
He
That's
does
a good word. That's a good word.
I plan on bringing another group of middle schoolers to the conference this year, but I want to honor the purpose of the conference. And what we've said to Mark is, it really isn't designed for middle schoolers, but middle schoolers can come to it. Your daughter came when she was in middle school.
She did, and
she
had a
loved
life-changing experience.
Yeah.
I think if you hand-pick a few middle schoolers to bring, I wouldn't say throw it open to your whole group. I think you're really having a couple of the great one-on-one conversations with junior hires, and I would say 8th grade maybe, like a little bit of the older.
Well, in summer's that great opportunity when they're moving up to their freshman year or their 8th grade year.
If you're
like,
targeting
those are good times
a
to
couple
kids.
of great 8th graders to head into the next school year with you, I think it could be really cool. And every student isn't walking away with 100% of the content. Like every student is going, picking and choosing and adapting different things. So I think middle schoolers aren't any different.
Yeah, he does something interesting where you actually have to be nominated by one of the volunteers.
Ooh,
to
I
go.
like it.
Yeah.
So one of the junior high girls came one year, but she didn't get nominated the next year, and she wrote this sweet note to Mark and say, I'd love to meet with someone just to find out, like, how can I grow in areas that I just thought, I had such a great experience last year and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it was just one of these stories.
That's incredible.
He's the one, we've told the story on the show before where the church, I need to capture this story better, but he keeps bringing all these reports back from student leadership, and one of the adult pastors said, "You're doing more to develop leaders than we are in this church. What if I gave my budget to you so you can take more kids to camp?"
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That's
amazing.
legit. And humble. Wow.
Yeah, totally.
But he kills it too. We
Oh my
bump into him at
gosh.
restaurants during this, and he is like a servant.
That's
He
so
loves those kids.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Matthew Fry says, "I'm new to DYM. Can't believe been in youth ministry this long and didn't recognize the awesomeness when I first saw it." Well, we've only been around for about 3 years.
Yeah, in all fairness, there's only 280 shows. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe
He's referring to the
the
membership.
website. Oh yeah.
I think just DYM. He's
Maybe.
thinking.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
he's a
in that
full-time
case,
youth
welcome.
worker at a church in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Oh.
Youth ministry is one segment of what I do at a church. Another portion of my job is to organize our first-time visitor follow-ups for Sunday morning. We've created a calendar to map out and be strategic about our follow-up for Sunday morning, but currently I have nothing in place for our student ministry. What are your suggestions in terms of following up with students? What things work or what don't work? How long do you recommend following up? I love the follow-up conversation because it always changes. I don't think there's one strategy
It's
that works
so
all the
hard.
time.
It's
Even,
so
even
hard.
if
Can
you
we just
get a
acknowledge
great,
that?
even if you get a great ministry to like assimilate people,
Yeah.
it's so hard to maintain it. It's so hard to keep it going. But
What
I
are
mean,
you doing? You're a church planter. You're a senior
Yeah.
pastor.
we
fell out of
stole
God's will
a
and left
really
youth
cool,
ministry?
Yeah, that's right. We stole a really good idea from another church we heard about doing this. Every time someone new comes to our church, if they're an adult, we send them a nice card with a $5 Starbucks gift card. And if it's a kid that comes, they get a $5 Yogurtland gift card.
Wow.
And so we've heard like incredible response on that. So I think
So you're trying to bribe them for the
Yeah,
you
you
know,
say I'll come back.
no, but the
Josh
thing
would come back and check new every time.
I'm a first time visitor.
the thing about
This service
a
before.
newcomer, if you can make some kind of personal connection, I don't know what kind of numbers they're dealing with, or anybody really can apply this to themselves. But if it's a smaller youth group and you have 20, 10, 40 kids, like you almost could make those one-on-one calls. I mean, if you have a mega youth group and thousands of kids, Josh can't be calling every brand new kid that comes, but he has people that can. somehow to divide and conquer, somehow to just reach out to them and say, hey, tell us what you liked, or what can we do for you? How can we serve you? Anything we can pray for you about? Just making that follow-up phone call, nice letter, send them information, account. I don't know.
What percentage of junior hires and high schoolers fill out cards these days?
It's tough. I mean, I think we give an outline for our message each week, and there's a little response card. I would say we probably get, maybe 25 of those a week out of the students that come, which isn't very many.
Yeah.
So mostly kids are filling out a prayer request on here, so it's mostly church kids.
Yeah.
Newer kids, I don't know. I think information's an interesting thing these days of like kids giving out their information. In my congregation, a lot of kids don't know their address or their phone number because it's programmed in. There's like some of that kind of stuff that they don't know.
They're literally looking into their phone to find out their own phone number.
Dial one?
Yeah, totally.
Hold
So
on
it's
to
Is that like a rarity or like
no,
a
it's
common?
kind of a thing
real.
where
Really?
they like don't know how to write their address.
We did
It's a
it.
weird
We
thing.
did a thing where kids are writing a letter to themselves one time, and they had to write an envelope, and they couldn't do it. Like the address was in the wrong
It's
place,
so
and they're like,
weird.
where do I put the stamp?
It's a parent issue.
hilarious.
It's kind of a thing. It's
You
kind
really
of a
wouldn't
thing.
believe it. It was real. It was real.
Wow.
It's kind of a thing, and I didn't think it was a thing until I asked my own kid the other day. I said, "Hey, text so and so our address," and she was like, "Wait, what street do we live on again?"
Oh
And I
my
was like,
goodness.
"Oh my! If you get kidnapped, you're good."
You're done.
Can I say something with the follow-up thing?
Yeah.
About the
No,
first time
I
user
feel
thing?
like we're not even
So,
touching it
I
yet.
know. Sorry. Okay.
Hey, thanks, Doug.
So we're asking a lot of these questions in our ministry right now. Actually, of just trying to think of in light of kind of, maybe just like how to leverage technology, how to do some of these things to kind of connect, with first timers. But we've also had one of the questions that was raised was what happens when kids don't want to connect to us, or they come in and they want to be anonymous. We had one of our volunteer leaders who went up to a girl on Sunday morning and was asking her questions. How are you? What's going on? And she was like, I'm fine. She's like, can you just leave me alone? I just want to be alone. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I love it.
Yeah. And so it was like this
Leave
one,
me.
and she was like, totally, yes, okay,
Yeah.
well, we're
Oh,
over here if you need us.
that's
Like,
brutal.
I know,
Oh,
totally,
yeah.
right? As a volunteer.
That volunteer
So-
quit the next
Yeah,
day.
totally. She's like, this one just
Why am I even
sucks.
here?
Yeah.
What was that, our first week?
Totally. But so there's even that balance of like, like when do kids want to engage with us and be followed up on and some of that kind of stuff, and parents are a little bit more interesting too about follow up and sending stuff out and giving out information and stuff. So we're just trying to we're actually asking the same questions. I wish that I had a better answer, but I think we're just processing some of that stuff right now.
We started something about 4 weeks ago. It's pretty revolutionary. It's called a welcome center. And but it actually
It has
some good
donuts.
pieces to it. It's run by two. Let me connect the conversations here. It's run by two student leaders. So at 2 points during the service, near the beginning, and usually one of the last things we say is, "Hey, if it is your first time here, we're not singling anybody out. We're just glad you're here, checking out Jesus and God, or came with a friend. Awesome. If you want, swing by the Welcome Center. We'll give you a HSM T-shirt. We'd love to get to know you." So what happened was we had ordered a few too many shirts for an event, and so we had some leftovers. So we're like, how are we going to give these away? So that's how they get the free T-shirt. So if a student comes to the Welcome Center, which has been really fun to see, students
That's
being
cool.
like, okay, I do want to connect, I do want to know more. They're greeted by a student leader or two that are working in that area, and they get a T-shirt, they fill out a little card, and then the student leader, by the time that our youth group is done, or before they leave, they'll actually write a handwritten card to that person that we then put in the mail. So the
That's great.
person they met gets a handwritten card from a student, hopefully from their school. It doesn't always work that way, but
Yeah.
so I'll give you an example of it working. It isn't flawless. We're only a month in, but honestly, this is an area we have not done well in.
Yeah.
Follow up is just like
Yeah.
it's way down the list. But a kid named Chris from El Toro High School, senior, plays volleyball, really sharp kid. He's like, I've been here for 3 weeks and I'm ready to take the next step. Like, I keep hearing about life groups. That's all you guys ever talk about. So get me a life group. It's just so fun. So he's at the Welcome Center going, I'm ready for the next step. So he came in anonymously. All we do is a head count. We don't have scans or thumb swipes. It's just come and show up. We'll count the number of heads in the room. That's it. But when he was ready to take that next step, he was greeted, loved on, card sent to him, heard about life groups, and joined a life group. He just had a second week last
So
night.
good.
That's
Yeah.
So just fun to go.
Yeah.
We're trying our best to do some effective follow-up, but I think if you can connect those two conversations we're having, student leaders and follow-up, there might be some magic there too for us. No additional work for volunteers or myself. Student leaders run that thing
Well,
from
and the
start to finish.
follow-up's more meaningful when it's connected to a person too.
Absolutely.
So a random follow-up lesson or letter spit out because you swiped or you typed
Right.
in your
An
number.
automatic text. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but something personal like that with
Yeah.
someone that you met.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great
So the
next
kid
level
goes from
thing.
total outsider
Mhm.
to 5 weeks later now in a group for the last 2 weeks, totally in, loves his group, connects with his leader. I followed up with his leader, and he's just like he's been here his whole life. I wish we'd gotten him sooner. You know, I always hate that. A
Yeah.
great sharp.
Well, and that's a
kid.
kid who's self-activated too. You're
Oh,
not
without a
gonna-
doubt, without a doubt, sharp as they get. 18. I mean, he's
But a great parent resource too. I mean, even on your website or whatever, saying to parents who want to get their kids connected, you saying, "Hey, there's a welcome center. Swing by the welcome center
Yeah.
with your student."
And when I say welcome center, it's literally like it's a wheeled out little table thing, and I mean it's as
well, why does it have to be more than that?
it's not. I'm just saying. I think when some people think when I say welcome center, it's
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
like
Booth.
Yeah.
we had a volunteer take one of those big rolling tool chests that they'd have in the garage and put a little top on it. That's our welcome center.
Yeah.
But it
Great.
works.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
You put 2 student leaders behind it, it crushes.
Before
Yeah.
Josh took
Cool.
over the high school ministry that was built so well,
Foundation. That strong foundation.
there used to be something called campus pastors. And so for me, one of my favorite student leadership deals, it didn't last. You know, it only lasts as long as you're going to emphasize it. And Josh chose not to emphasize a few things. But,
That's fantastic.
but the idea was that you'd have a couple kids, a guy and a girl, if you could do it with every grade at each campus, that they're the campus pastors. So when a new kid comes from that school, they get the card,
Yeah.
and that's their job
Yeah.
to follow up with them, to connect with them,
So
to make sure
strong.
their questions are answered and things like that. And, you know, back when youth ministry was done really well,
Yeah.
that's what would
Back
happen.
when it was effective, yeah.
I have to be really careful about having junior high student leaders greet new kids because sometimes
A little over
it's
the
not
top.
their sweet spot, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you gotta get the right person.
you really do have to think through who are those people that are, because there
Yeah.
are students who are really great at
Yeah,
it,
they're going to be
and
better.
then
Yep.
there's students who volunteered for
Oh,
it,
yeah.
that it's not their sweet
That-
spot.
That's
Maybe
when
they shouldn't.
So-
that's when you pair them up with somebody else.
Well, we had a girl
Yeah.
volunteer to do that, and she was a freshman in high school, and she scared people every time
Oh,
we got her
no.
out. Right away, we gotta
Oh,
get
she
her out,
jumped out.
get her out. So we got her out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
It was tough. She wanted to be by the door every time, and she would like be snarky and stuff, and stand there. I'm like, no, we're not going for that. Get out.
We had a guy named
Keep her out.
Mike Mitchell.
Sweet.
Do you remember Mike?
Yes, I do.
Mike Mitchell was a greeter at the door, and some kids would walk in and they don't want to grab a bulletin, or they already grabbed one,
Sure.
and then they went to the bathroom because they put it on their chairs and they don't want one. One time he was like, "Grab the damn bulletin!" Yeah, and so we had to explain to Mike that that's that's
There's
not how
like, there's
Not
there's
exactly.
a way.
Love your
Now,
enthusiasm.
here's the great story. Here's a great story.
Let him to do
You know
his
what
job.
Mike
We
Mitchell
gotta
does
encourage
now?
that.
No,
Mike Mitchell is a pastor.
no.
Yes, he's a pastor.
How wonderful.
Yeah,
The bulletin guy is
The
now a
bulletin guy,
pastor.
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness.
And I sent it's
That's
probably been
fun.
5 years ago. He sent me a link to him preaching a service. He was wearing a robe, so it was in some
Oh, yeah.
Presbyterian, I think, type church or Lutheran church or something like that.
That's
Oh,
awesome. Did
fun.
everyone have bulletins? I sure hope so.
You know,
'Cause
anyway,
Everybody
it's just
grabbed the
fire
damn
and
bulletin.
we
brimstone.
just we have a bunch of we just have a bunch of good Mike Mitchell stories.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the best.
He's a
I'd
great-
like to
very
reconnect with him
entertaining.
sometime. Yeah.
Well, maybe this podcast. will
Anyway, this
somehow-
was podcast 281. We still have some questions that we'll get to at well, actually, what I want to do in the next show
What?
is the next show, 281, which would be weeks
Yeah.
later that we're going to record next, is the Angry Parent
Oh,
Letter
wow.
Show.
Do you want me to go print a couple that I?
I've got two.
I
right
see.
now.
Do I've got because we had a DYM, we had a contest, so I grabbed the best ones,
Oh, my
and I
goodness,
thought
I
we
can't
would do
wait.
the show.
What a great show!
That's a great show.
Read the
Yeah.
Angry Parent
Should
Letter.
we just slide ours in so
And
that
then-
they don't know that
and,
they're ours?
and talk about the principles related to them.
Okay.
I think there'd be some good learning.
I
there.
legitimately had one that was rough.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
It was a sex series one that was bad, and then there was a winter retreat one this week. It was rough.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay. Well, we got a little time before we record
Okay.
it. Now that
Okay.
Katie's
I'll bring
gotta
it.
go to the bathroom.
For sure.
I can tell.
For sure.
Weeks and weeks. Until we record it.
Okay,
So this is like the student leadership show, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
brought to us by our sponsors,
SLC.
Student Leadership Conference.
Student Leadership Conference.
And Orange, Leader Trek,
And
Azusa.
Azusa was where we held our first student leadership conferences. Yeah, if you're interested in getting a master's in youth ministry, go to azusapacificuniversity.edu, apu.edu.
Cool.
And Josh and Katie and Jason and I will be there.
Yeah, honorary doctorate. I will be there. Never gonna happen.
Did you ever do your BA?
One time.
Did you graduate?
One time.
Yeah, I walked with pride.
Did you?
Which is cool that they let a 1.8 you can still walk.
That is
That's
cool.
not real.
Or you know. He was. Let's go back to what our buddy Danny said. He was almost right.
95%.
95%. That's an A, guys. Okay.
On his
Danny
tombstone.
is my hero.
That's an A.
He
in
was
truth.
almost right.
The truth.
Come on.
Come on.
Let's
A.
set you free. Hey,
All right.
show 281. Good job.
Bye.
Bye.
How old do these eyes look?
Dude, I didn't want to say
You
anything.
don't know.
Oh,
While we were on the air, I was like, oh, I can't say it, but he looks like
Fields.
a little bit like
Come on.
Gollum.
You don't look old.